Well, our society is screwed up anyway. That's why it's so much of that going on. But my point is, if you look at it from a real logical perspective, everybody on the earth is one big family. Real simple. Okay? So, to move on back to the matter nature, Asar's wife, after his evil brother, Asar had a set. Asar had a relationship with his brother's girl. There was two twin sets born. It was Set and Nephet and Asar and a Set. So Asar and Set was born as a twin set, and Set and his sister Nephet were born as a twin set. Now, a Set's sister Nephet is depicted as being the total opposite of her. They both represent the cycle of creation and recreation. That means that in order for someone to move, reassign, transcend, go to a different realm of time and space, you have to leave this one. When the spirit leaves the encapsulation of this material sarcophagus and move on to his next realm, the foolish observers of that here on earth call that death. In all actuality, any realm of life that you're living in is the realm of death, because you know that you will be assigned and have to move on somewhere else. So while you are in this realm, in any realm that you be in, the proper way to look at that is that you know you are actually dead, because this is not where you're going to end up at. So since this is not abiding, and we know it's not, because you know, you feel it in your heart that there's somewhere else for you to go one day. So since you know you're leaving here, you might as well assume the fact that you're already dead, because death is very, very inevitable and is abiding. So you might as well consider that you are already dead. You are going to leave here. All of us. I know that's hard for some people to understand right now, but after a while, you understand why the Egyptians or the ancient Kemetic people were so preoccupied with funerary preparations, because they knew that. I'm dropping that on you guys tonight too. So my point is, the Christians all want to go see Jesus, but they don't want to die, because you're not getting prepared for death. This is not going to get you prepared for death, because I bet none of you guys ever heard any of that shit I just said before. And the ones who you did, feel very fortunate. But my point back to Nesbet being the flip side of life, a lot of people call that death just to be able to communicate with the people that see it as death. But I don't see it as death. I only see creation and recreation. And if you really want to know what death is where I'm at right now, because I can't wait to get recreated. So I'm dead right now waiting to go to whatever's next. And the only reason why I'm waiting is because I don't have no choice. I'm not going to kill myself and leave before I have all the experiences necessary for me to have, or I have to come right back and start over. So I got to be patient. I got to be careful. Make sure I learn what I need to learn and teach what I need to teach. Because you could come back to, if you were supposed to teach somebody something and you didn't teach them, you have to come back. It's true. I'm telling you. There's certain things that you must do, milestones that you must pass. You know what I'm saying? Exams. If you don't pass it, flunked it, you got to take it over. Just like we do in school. Same thing in life. Grades that you must pass to move on to the next grade. That's the way it is. Religion is not something that you must master. Religion is something that was put here to make you good at mastering life, because it will screw your life up. And the minute you find out you need to get as far away from religion as you can, you will start doing very good in life. Because you will not want materialism anymore. And that's all religion is about. And I'll prove that to you. As soon as you go to church this Sunday, just listen to what the preacher going to start talking about. How God going to make you rich. And how if you just put your trust in Jesus, you'll get that house. And then as soon as you leave work, you're going right back to work Monday. That's how you going to get that house, by taking your ass to work. And the preacher just going to take your money and tell you that foolishness, because Jesus is not going to help you buy your house. Only thing is going to help you buy your house is that you're going to convince yourself that Jesus is going to get that house for you. And then by convincing yourself that Jesus is going to get the house for you, you're going to go out and do the ritual necessary to get that house. It's going to be you get up every morning and go to work. It's going to be you put up with all that shit you have to put up with on that job. It's going to be you to go on there and sign that faulty, crazy deal with the bank to get that house and stuck with those mortgage payments for the rest of your life. And then when you sit down and everything that got accomplished and your body is all tired and worn out and exhausted, you're going to look at that crack on the wall and say, "Thank you, Jesus." Foolishness. You give that credit to the energy that's inside of you, that was inside of you when you was a baby, came out of your mama's ass before anybody set you down and gave you that Jesus crap. Because all that information that's inside of you that make you the go-getter that you are, you brought that with you when you came here. Because you came here with something to do. And these right here is what it get you off track of what you're supposed to do. And I know what you're supposed to be doing. If you came back here to this place, and you're not here so you can have sex and get high and shoot animals and hate black people and hate white people and just all that old crazy, get involved with war and want to be a rapper and want to have materialism with 38-inch rims and all that foolishness, if you ain't vibing on that, that ain't your vibrations, and you want to get enlightened, and you reading the Bible and it's telling you that a man had a baby and that's where everybody on the planet came from, and you believe in that, by the time you get away from that book, you're going to be so wise, because you're going to have to wake up first to get away from that book. And the experiences that this book going to be made you go through, oh my God. Once you find out what a fool you been, I commission you right now. All you got to do is don't listen to Bishop Blake when he tell you, don't ask God to tell you who he really is, because you'll be trying Jesus, and that's not having faith, and that's not being a good Christian. Why would they even tell you something like that? You should be able to scrutinize anything you want to scrutinize, especially when it's something so important. Imagine this. You get ready to get married to a woman, and you tell her you want her to tell you who her parents is, and she tell you, why you asking me about my parents? If you love me, that's all you need to know. You know what? Technically, she would be right. But somewhere in the back of your mind, you'd be a damn fool if you're going to marry a woman and you don't know nothing about her. Well, same thing with this. You better scrutinize it. Just because your mama started giving it to you when you was a child, look how messed up she was. Look how messed up he is, your father who gave it to you. Look at the preachers. Look at you. Look what y'all did with this book. Look what you did with this book. I can see pictures in my mind right now of people hanging, burning. The most horrible thing I know is when y'all used to put people in those big ass cages and leave them up in the sun all day, all around Europe. I remember I was a little kid. I saw a man in one of those cages, and he was looking down at the people walking past, and he was saying, "Water, water," and I could see the sun going in the cage burning. And I was a little kid, and my little brain said, hold on. It looked like somebody had put a man in a bird cage, and just everybody walking past, and he's asking for water, and nobody's giving him water. That's what my little brain saw. When I grew up, I realized that, man, that wasn't just a movie, that really happened. Imagine that people could be so twisted in their mind. Oh, let me add, it was the church did stuff like that. The same people who gave you this book. Let me throw that in there so you can know, in case you don't know who the villain is in the picture, I'll tell you. It was the Pope. It was them cardinals. It was the European males that was homosexuals that had took power from everyone because they had all the knights. What I mean is this. Let me tell you what they did. They were really smart. They went around and killed everybody's parents. Then they took all these little kids and built an orphanage. They put all these little kids in this orphanage. and started training them from little kids to be criminals. You ain't got to believe me if you don't want to. I don't care. I'm telling you the truth. They did it all over Europe. They did that to create the Dark Ages that you hear about, what they call medieval. When everything was so barbaric, so wild, so unknowledged. Then they tell you they all went. What did they do? They all went west on the quest. Where they went on a quest for the Holy Grail, which was really knowledge. They all went to Africa to try to find African people who had ran and hid from them, to get knowledge from them. Because they were saying, you know what, only thing these fools over here doing is murdering everybody. We need to get the hell out of Europe. So now you got all these torn, depressed people looking for God, because they definitely knew that God was not in Europe. I'm telling you the truth. So they all come storming down back into Africa, because they had left Africa because it was too hot. So they went up into Europe to get away from the sun. That's the story of Adam and Eve, when they say they was walking around naked and went and covered themselves with leaves. I mean that they got out of the sun of Africa and went up to the caves of Europe. And they got under all those freaking conditions that was more suited for their skin. Then you have some people that came along and, well, I'm going to get into that tonight, but my point is that it's been some really, really rough stuff that happened on this planet because of the false teachings of this book. This book is responsible for wars. You always see them talking about "In God We Trust" and pass the ammo, and they got the cardinal out there blessing people as they going into war. And it's just something else. I'm talking about a race of people that want to give you the bleeding heart, Jesus love you story, and at the same time, you can't find one gap in the whole history where they were not murdering people and stealing their land. And believe that they're doing God's will by this book. Ain't got nothing to do with God. It got a lot to do with these corporations that started off years and years ago. The people that took the melanin out of the melanated people and created the derelicts that they knew would be missing the necessary connection with the universe, that would be able to give them a defense mechanism against the type of brainwash technique that they used on them. The black people was too smart for that shit. They tried forever to get them to do it. And they was like, no, you crazy. And then they'll go tell that they was thinking about, they were saying, you know what he tried to get me to do? He say, what? He say, he's talking foolishness about us starting new type of teachings where the woman is not, you know what I'm saying, revered as God. He's saying that we should eradicate the whole ideal of her being as equal as a man. That ain't necessarily the issue or topic that probably was the concern, but I'm saying it was that type of curveballs that people starting to throw. Things of that type of nature. Just things that was conflictive or conflict.